Hello friends, today we're taking a look at a good guy doll. Ooh, maybe he's not so good.
I am Chucky, the killer doll!
Well, here is that good guy doll out of the box, friends, and as I'm sure most of you know, he is not really a good guy at all. He's horror icon Chucky from the Child's Play films, and this is Neca's ultimate figure of him, but I'm not really sure what film it's from. I mean, he's in the good guy packaging, which I think Chucky only shows up in the first movie. I mean, I'm not sure. I haven't seen all sequels, and it's been a long time, but I know one thing. This isn't exactly what I think of Chucky looking like when I think of Chucky. Ha ha ha, now that's more like it. Not that the sculpt on his standard head that he comes packaged with is bad, but I think we all know that this is not meant to be his standard head, right? It's supposed to be the evil head. Anyways, speaking of the sculpt on all the heads is pretty much perfect. I mean, there's nothing to complain about, especially with this head. Like, look at those scars. They're all sculpted. None are just painted on. I mean, and then the overalls. They have these little line effects going on them that are all sculpted in there to make it look like denim. And the cuffs are folded over, and that's sculpted. The shoes, they got these sculpted little laces, but they're not real laces because he's a doll. They're like doll laces. And then just everything on the sculpt, I mean, pretty much perfect. The overalls are sort of a separate rubbery piece, but it's integrated so well. You can hardly tell. And then the hair is like got a really nice sculpt too on all of the heads, really. I mean, I'm not reviewing the accessories yet, but just the standard head he came packaged with, I think I should review a little bit. The hair is a separate piece. It's not quite as rubbery as this piece because the hair is not quite as long, but I mean, there's no problems with the sculpt. It's pretty much perfect. I love the little folds in the what is this shirt he's got on? The like child's shirt? I don't know. I've never worn these clothes, but it's kind of weird how they like match the turned out overalls down here, or maybe he's got a onesie underneath the overalls. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. He's just a doll, right? Paint, also pretty perfect. The freckles and the eyebrow things are all decals. The eyes look perfect on every head. So did the little teeth. They didn't have to do that. They could have probably left that alone. But then the hair has a little wash. It looks very natural, which, I mean, some people might actually take issue with, at least on this head, because it's supposed to be like fake doll hair, right? But whatever, I don't really care. Chucky looks good. That's all I care about. Look at the onesie's sleeves, all little white lines, and every color in between. Super clean. Like, I don't see any slop on the stripes on the onesie at all, which is really impressive. Same thing with the cuffs down here. Shoes, nicely painted. I see a few spots of like, you know, the white's going a little over the line, but nothing too big. What's most impressive with the paint is a little good guys decal and a little dotted white line they put for the sewn edges, or, you know, the sew lines, the whatever they are, the thread that goes through the overalls, which, I mean, it looks kind of thick, but it should be because he is a doll. And then there's the little decals of all the little good guy logos, the hats and bats and baseball bats and little construction worker hats and cowboy hats and guns and stuff. You can really tell what everything is, which is really impressive. I mean, it's not like perfectly applied everywhere. Like in some spots, like the color is off of the little decal. I'm trying to find one, but like for the most part, it looks really good. Like you can see that that's a cowboy hat, that's a construction guy hat, stuff like that. I guess this is a lasso or something. I'm not 100% on some of these things. But it's very impressive nonetheless. I got no real issues with the sculpt or the paint. I'm very happy with it, honestly. Articulation's also pretty impressive for a figure at this size. He's got a ball joint at the base of the neck. It's an alternate head, so you can swap it on and off, but look at that side-to-side range. Very good there, and then he can look so far down without popping him off, and so far up. I'm pretty impressed with that range, and of course he can go around. The hair on this head gets in the way a little bit, but you could still do it, totally. And then he has hinge and swivel shoulders, so you can get him up to 90 and give Chucky a hug. And they go all the way around too. There are hinge and swivel elbows, a lot like Hasbro Marvel Legends, and those also pop off, but they're on there good right now. The hands are just ball joints. They can twist all the way around. Unfortunately, they don't get much range going, you know, up, down, left, right, but you can wiggle them a little bit. Then what's super impressive is under that rubber overall coat thing, he has a diaphragm joint actually, and you can even twist it around. I mean, you can't go all the way around because the rubber will stop you, but man, can you get some side-to-side action on that chest and some forward and back crunch? It is pretty darn impressive. The hips are on ball joints. They can go so far forward, which is very good. And they can't really go back, strangely, which, I mean, you think they would be able to since this is a rubber piece, but maybe it has something to do with the size. He can, however, do the splits very nicely. He can rotate, but it's a little sticky on mine. The knees are hinge and swivel. They can rotate too. And then the feet appear to just be little ball joints. They don't get much up and down range as I'd like them to, but they do swivel all the way around. I don't know what more they could have really added. I would like his hips to be able to move backwards, but otherwise, perfect articulation, Neca. Awesome job. So Chucky pretty much comes in Neca's standard ultimate packaging with the window box, but it's done up like a good guy doll from the movie, and doesn't even say Chucky on the front anywhere, even though this is totally ultimate Chucky. And yeah, it's not, I mean, I don't think this was on the inside of the good guy's doll in the movie. Anyways, you can see the figure and all his accessories. So we're going to have fun reviewing them inside there. On the side, you get not pictures of the figure for once, but other good guy dolls, I guess, they had in the movie. And on the back, it sort of continues, but then Neca just gives up and shows you how cool the actual figure is. Anyways, let's open this guy up. It might help if I had a knife to cut that tape. The flap is kind of hard to get open, actually. I've never seen this before on a Neca figure. I feel like I'm going to rip it. Okay, let's try it this way. Well, that worked, kind of. Pull that tray out, and be careful. There's a little box on the inside. Alright, usually Neca has all their accessories hidden behind these long strips of tape, but today, instead, on Chucky, there's this giant piece of plastic covering almost everything, and only tape on the sides, so let's get that off. I think it's a good idea to leave one strip on, so you can just peel this thing open and ta-da! And now everything will just fall out, pretty much. Oh, wow. Chucky himself. No twist ties. Awesome packaging. I really love this big plastic thing you got. Reminds me of import figures. Very classy, Neca. In the packaging, Chucky comes with a lot of accessories. Just, oh, so much accessories. Probably to make up for the fact that he's a pretty small figure for Neca. Anyways, the first thing is this Good Guy Dolls box. It's different than this box. It's actually scaled to the figure, you know? Then he comes with an evil head, a more evil head, and the most evil I'm almost dead head, a good old baseball bat, a yardstick that's to scale with the figure, a little toy hammer, a handgun, an alternate right hand, an alternate left hand, and another alternate right hand. Then he comes with a knife, a knife, a knife, a knife, a knife sticking out of his arm, a knife, and a knife. That is a lot of knives. Let's take a closer look at everything, and we'll just take that box out of its plastic and see if we can't assemble it real quick. Okay, no tape or anything required, but you do kind of have to push hard on all the little folds to get them to stick in place. And what's cool about this box is Chucky can get inside it. Let's see how that works. Pretty good, I'd say. I really appreciate how they have a little clear plastic window here, Neca. Awesome accessory, I think. Next, let's try Chucky's alternate heads, and we'll just pop this one off, and that wasn't so hard. This is what I guess is supposed to be Chucky's main head. Sculpt on it's alright. I like the little loose strand of hair. It's painted very cleanly. No problems with it, really, honestly. I love it. The scarred head seems a little tougher to pop on, but I'll give it my best try. There we go. Chucky's looking pretty good. I think this is the more scarred up appearance that Chucky's more well known for, sort of made famous in the sequels. And it's kind of odd that, like, the right eye is the one that's scarred up, when on the next head it's the other eye. But good to have options. Let's see the last head. Yeah, now that's what I'm talking about. Look at that Neca sculpt in there. That is impressive work. It's kind of odd. You'd think, like, you know, after getting scarred this way, he'd continue to be scarred this way. But I guess the movies don't really give him, like, a chronological sequence of deterioration, if that makes any kind of sense. Like, you'd think he'd get progressively worse and worse, but instead, like, the damage is random throughout the movie, or movies. I'm not too sure at what point he looked like this, but it looks awesome, right? Interesting to note, on each head, they all have a number. The one Chucky comes packaged with has a little number 1. The little angry head has a 2 back there. The really destroyed head has a 3. And the scarred head is head number 4, I guess, which is kind of weird, because you would think, you know, it would go from this to this, not the other way around. But whatever. So all the heads looked really good, obviously. No real complaints there. We start taking a look at the other accessories. The baseball bat's pretty plain. It doesn't even look like it's really made of wood. But more than that, Chucky's hands can't really hold any of these things because the hands he comes packaged in are just sort of flat doll hands, I guess. So we'll pop them off. Boy, that was easy. And see how the other hands do. Now there are two right hands, and I'll try this one first that mirrors the left, which is in a sort of gripping pose. They popped on all right. He can hold the bat just fine, no problems there. Same goes for the hammer. Says good guys, so I guess it's a toy, so he can't really hurt anybody with it, but good that he can hold it. He can even hold a little good guy's yardstick. Pretty cool there. Let's take a look at that accessory. Speaking of it now, Neca actually got it to say good guys on there, and they printed every individual number. Like a lazier company would have just put little red lines on there. But this looks like a real life yardstick, honest to gosh. It goes all the way up from 0 to 36 and is on both sides too. How about that? What a cool accessory, Neca. I mean, it's made of sort of flimsy plastic, I guess. Doesn't feel like metal or wood or anything, but it's not supposed to. It's an awesome accessory. Next up is the little gun, and it looks like it might be the Beretta Model 70 from the first movie, but only Catherine used that. Chucky never used no gun when he was a doll, I think. So it might be the Beretta M20 from the second movie, or the 950 Jetfire Beretta from the third movie, which Chucky actually used in both of those sequels. I am not too sure, but either way, it doesn't fit too good into the gripping hand, so we'll pop off the right hand and compare it with the other right hand. Fits okay in that, a little loose. Don't know how you can reach the trigger with your doll hands though, Chucky. Next up, knives. Most of them just slide through this right hand, so we're going back to the gripping hand. Chucky gets two of these fold-out shaving blades, and the sculpt and the paint on the handles ain't the greatest. This looks kind of like a log of well, I won't say. Well, they both fit in his hands okay. Don't know why he has two, but he's coming to get you. Then he has a pair of these knives, also identical. Paint's much better on them, although I don't know why there's a big blotch of silver on one. Holds them a-okay either way. Next up is this really cool looking knife. It's been a long time since I've seen the movies, but like this is clearly a very special evil knife, like a little skull and crossbones on it and this little gold leaf. Painted very cleanly, and then I love this red here. Really cool design for a knife, I think. It's a bit of a tight fit in that hand, but it fits perfectly, and I'd rather it be tight than loose, right? Now both of Chucky's forearms can pop out at the elbow, and then you get this nice alternate knifey arm with, I don't know what's with the brown here, like, because the sleeves aren't brown on his normal arm. It's like they got the blue and they got the red, and then what happened to the colors in between? I don't know, but let's pop it on to each arm and see how well it fits. Yep, no problems on the left one. And you can put it on the right one too if you want. Really doesn't make much difference. Pretty symmetrical looking. Then there's this big kitchen knife. No problems with the paint or sculpt. It looks great. I love the little texture on the silver part actually. Can fit in the gripping hand just fine. I think this is sort of the main knife I pictured Chucky holding, and probably put him like this on my shelf or something. And finally, the last knife is just huge. It's like some sort of pirate swashbuckler's knife, it looks like. Well, it looks pretty fancy, honestly. I love that little brush stroke type effect on the handle. Make it look like it's been painted in one direction or weathered or something. Really cool.
That's a knife.
It barely fits in that hand, honestly, but the grip's good enough. So really cool accessories all around. Definitely no shortage of knives. So everything's been pretty impressive so far, but scale is where things start to get kind of weird, because Chucky strangely stands at a massive 30 inches tall.
You have got to be kidding.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got a little confused there. Chucky actually stands at exactly 4 inches tall, and this thing is about 5 inches long, which, puts it at a bit of a weird scale, but I love how this thing has the little hole in it, exactly like my ruler does, or yardstick, or, it's a really cool thing going on there. As always, here he is with my Batman and Spider-Man. Here he is with Freddy, Ash, and It. And I gotta say, Chucky looks kinda tall for a doll, but that's how he is. So should you ultimately get the ultimate Chucky figure, friends? Well, honestly, heck yes, I got pretty much no complaints. I mean, the only downside I can really think of is the guy comes with too many accessories, but I mean, that's not really a complaint. I mean, when you look at all the accessories, they're just all fantastic, except for, the razor blades, but that doesn't bug me so much. It's just like too many. Usually I pile on the accessories at the end of a review, and like here it's just like I keep going and going onto the little stand I got, and this thing's quite a knife too. I'm pretty impressed with the sculpt, and most impressed with the articulation Neca crammed into this little guy. I really can't think of any downsides to him, except for the fact that maybe the Bride of Chucky 2-pack is coming out, but I doubt that's coming with this many accessories. So if you're a Child's Play fan, or just a fan of horror in general, I'd say go get this guy, because he's totally worth it. Well, until next time, peace out, YouTube.